Welcome to Empyrion Galactic Survival, and here we are. We're stood on the bridge of my capital vessel overlooking the pretty bleak planet that we landed on in the last part. And what I want to do in this part is get back up into space and do a bit of work on the carrier, because I do really need to progress that build for a couple of reasons which I'll explain at the moment. But the reason we're starting down on the planet is I thought I'd give you a bit of an update of where we are. And you can see I've been working my way around the planet. I've found lots of resources. What I've really been going for is Zarcosium. There's a bit of Zarcosium over there, but unfortunately I'm now getting to a point where my ship is getting pretty loaded with resources, which is one reason why I need to get up into space and build so that I can actually offload some stuff. Just to show you here, come to here, you can see I've got 1,000 steel blocks. In fact, more than 1,000 blocks. We've got hardened steel blocks. So you can see I've literally maxed out this, and if I come into here you can see the resources I've got here. I mean, I've got spare capacity here in actual carry, but the ship is getting a little bit sluggish, and you can see how much zirconium I've mined since the end of the last video. I've got 2,574 to add to the zirconium that I already had, which is 3147. So we're getting lots of resources in. You can see I've also picked up a fair amount of promethium, but the real problem I've got now, which is one of the reasons why I want to move on with the carrier, as you can see, my ice blocks are now down to 814, and there's absolutely no water on this planet. In fact, there doesn't seem to be any water in this system at all. So I'm going to have to make my way back to the starter planet to get some more water, unless I can go to an asteroid field and find some ice asteroids. Otherwise, what I could quite literally happen is I could run out of oxygen. And so that's the reason why I want to get up and work on the carrier, which is a little bit annoying because the planet has got potential, but at the same time, I don't know how many parts I can endure just wandering around picking up resources. And to give you an idea, this area around here is about 3, nearly 4 hours of gameplay off camera, because there was a lot of resources in here. Zirconium, I think I picked up a little bit more gold in here, and there's only so much my finger can take when it comes to mining. And if you actually look down on the tooltip bar, you'll see that I've nearly worn out my epic drill. So that gives you, oops, better switch the power on. That gives you an idea of how much mining I've been doing. And I say there's only so much you can do before you need to get out and do something different. And you can see how, I mean, the ship's still fairly mobile. I mean, I suppose I could go and get that bit of zirconium if I can find it, when there's lots of resources on here. That's a small deposit, so I suppose I could. The problem, as you can see from above here, this is definitely not a planet for using a hover vehicle. It's an absolute dead zone. It's difficult enough finding landing places for the actual capital vessel, so what I've had to do is use the SV, do the supplementary mining. You can see again, this one, it's actually dropped down in that dip there. Yeah, I think we will go and get the zirconium. Actually, that wasn't actually a bad landing, actually. I've had to land in a lot worse places. We'll just go up here. And of course, another problem without the water, again, I'll just show you. If I come to raw food, I've had to make up some more purified water. So if I want to keep going with the better quality food, just to show you, things like the pizzas, you can see that naturally, well, it needs milk, and milk needs purified water. And I think we also need it for flour. So making the food is also consuming a lot of my water at the moment. And again, I seem to be going through quite a lot of food at the moment. And say food, oxygen, and the ship seems to have a kind of total desire for fuel as well. Looks like this could be a little bit tricky. I have to try and fly in here. Yeah, this is going to be a see if we can get into here. And again, this is what having to maneuver into these crevices is what actually takes some of the time as well. And you do need ship protection. This is not a planet you can wander around on. I think I'll leave the thrusters on this time. And I'm just going to come up here. You can see with the radiation and that. Got on F5 to shove us. I mean, there aren't many creatures on this planet, but most of them tend to be a little bit on the hostile side, and they do sneak up on you. So where did that? There's the Sarcosium, and we'll just hook that in there. Oops, hit the drill, and we're just gonna get straight down and we'll just wide out this area here. And the other thing I've noticed is quite often the Sarcosium is pretty deep as well, so it's not like it's just below the surface. You can see I'm already on the point of losing the drone here. And what I'll do is I'll just mine out as much of this as I can and I'll be right back. So here we are, we're right on the limit of the drone, but I've just been able to just tidy up the last few pieces of Sarcosium. I think I've got nearly as much stone from this as Sarcosium. Just pick up that bit. I think that's about it. Can't see anymore. One way to test is actually just ping out there's a little bit there, but I don't think that's actually Sarcosium. It probably could be stone. Yep. Just jump back in the ship. Wait for the just to double check. Yep, all the Sarcosium from there. We've got 590, 529 Sarcosium, 221 crushed stone. One thing about doing a lot of mining is I've got absolutely no shortage of stone at the moment. And as has been suggested in the comments, I've actually been converting some of it to copper and iron, partly just to get rid of it. It's probably the honest truth. So we're just gonna get back to the Pioneer. I don't know if it's this planet, but even the SV seems to be a bit temperamental operating on this planet. So we're gonna just come down here. We've docked. Another thing I've actually been doing is doing the transfers before I actually jump out the ship. Okay. Just get rid of come on. Down. And turn the thrusters back on. Up we go, and we're just going to go straight up into space now and return to the carrier. So here we are, we're up in space. All I've got to do now is find my carrier. In theory, it should be on the other side of the planet. I mean, there's not that much in this system, and a lot of it's quite some distance away. We just turn off the inertia drive to save a little bit of fuel, and then we'll just fly over the top here, and I'll see you once I actually get to the carrier. So here we are, we're just approaching the carrier to see if I can get close enough. I don't actually want to land on it because I want to be able to see what I'm doing in the next part, but I just want to drop down. I want to be close enough so that I can use the Wi-Fi. I want to be a little bit away from the stern of the ship. I think that will probably be good enough. Stop there. First person. Oh, I need some food. Turn the power off. Now there's actually three things I want to do with the carrier in this part. First, I want to move the core. Then I want to do a little bit of work on some thrusters. And then probably the biggest part is I want to lay out the landing decks so that I've got an overall shape of the top of the ship. I'm gonna need some food actually. Maybe do on that. Go into the Pioneer. Food, and just put that. Just put that in there so it's tidy. Something I also want is a core. That out. Pick you up there. I need a bit of oxygen as well. Surprising how fast I'm going through the oxygen. Really. Just grab you. Turn that on. Open the door, please. So here's the ship. And what we have to do first is take out the old core. Wow, I need some multi-tool. I don't know. I'm building. I'm not destroying at the moment. Famous last words. I'll just go in the hole I've left in the top here. Because of course we're going to have to get rid of this one first. Of course that means now I can't interact with the ship because despite having the extenders, you still seem to need a core. And I do have an idea where I want to put the core. It's all down very much to the all the eggs in one basket scenario again, but what I'm thinking is we're just going to put it there. So we're just going to take out, we'll salvage that off there. I'm going to put the core in there. Effectively, power on. Okay. Why have you got the power on there? Or does it just switch the power on automatically when you put the core in? And the other thing I want is an armoured window. Pick up 5 of those. And this is purely cosmetic. I just want to put an armoured window there. Or behind it, so turn that off. And I suppose we just turn the ship back on again. You can see the core behind there. And we've got the wireless connector. I think that would be fairly interesting. I'm working on the principle if I can't protect this room to the point where we can stop the missiles hitting this room, i.e. through without, you know, if the shield's down and they're actually breaking through the layers of defenses which I talked about in the previous video, it's all over anyway, so whether the core's there or not is another matter. Let's get out of here. Now I do have an idea with respect to thrusters now, so the first thing I want to do is let's have a look. This is 1, 2, 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3 blocks. And what I'm thinking, what I should do is put the symmetry core on. Of course, it won't do it that way. Or should I do it individually? No, I think we'll put the symmetry. No, I won't for this bit because I'm not totally sure what I want to do. This is very much experimental, and I don't really want to keep running backwards and forwards trying to find things. Yep, I forgot that. We need to connect that up. We're working big time. Have to pick that up. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3. So if I take out that one, what I'm thinking is we've got this kind of slot here, and what I want to do is take that out, and then what I want to do is construct it out, and got a couple of those are all my thrusters. When I've got so many of them, I've got 42 of them. I did do a bit of a calculation that the large thrusters on the back are the equivalent to 10 of these medium-sized thrusters. So I could put large thrusters in. What I'm thinking is I only want this ship to be able to maneuver. So let's just go with these. I think is that the right way around? Yep. What I want to do is slot those in like that. just take this out, and what I'm going to do is take that block out. Oops, not that one. That block out there. You out, and you out there. Now, I know some of you will say, "Oh well, you've got gaps here," but what I'm thinking is putting some half blocks behind that so that it will fit in. So, whoops. Is that the right way around again? Yep. So, let's take off these thrusters from the top. What's up with me today? So the idea is to have these tucked in here so that they have a sense of protection. That doesn't line up with that, does it? May have to move this over a bit so that it lines up. So what we'll have is these thrusters will be kind of half protected, because what I'm going to do is put a lip. Where is it? And we got some hardened steel blocks. Let's bring down the ordinary steel blocks as well while we're at it. The way I'm going at the moment is I have what's up with that? That's it. So have this running along as a little bit of a lip like that, and then what we're going to want to do is build out this area so that it would be actually a gun position. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. So we got 3 down, 3 up, and we'll repeat the process over here. Although over here it's going to be a bit more complicated because this is running into the front of the ship and it's not actually finished yet. Oh, I suppose what I should do, take you off there. So we go. This, how many blocks in is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So strictly speaking, the down thrusters need to be here, like that. 1, 2. Perhaps let's put one on the far wall, and then we'll have take these off. And then we'll have the up thrusters in the similar position, opposite way round. So that's 1, 2, 3. Then when we shape in the front of the ship, we put the braking thrusters there. This part of me says I have 1, 2, 3 down the side there. And what we'll have here is the gun position. So that's, and we'll have the same up here. 1, 2. Definitely should have put the symmetry plane on, shouldn't I? This is very much a design type session. And then we get that position there. What we can have, we got these down this side, we've got up, we've got down. I don't really want to crowd in this area here. So what we could do is put in maybe have 3 like that as well. Then we can fill this area in with just blocks. Bring this up. And that means that these actual thrusters don't crowd the hangar doors there. And this side we won't have any thrusters because the main thruster is going to come from the stern of the ship. So if I build this in, just to, so what we can do is, I think I'll just work on the one area here, and then this is too high, really. Comes out like that. So strictly speaking, that needs to come out like that, doesn't it? So what we really need here on the back here, because we got these thrusters, is we put in 1, 2, 3 like that. We've got to put the. I should really have the hardened steel blocks. The principle I'm working on at the moment is that I will go round and toughen up these blocks later on, and then what we can do is at the moment I'm a little bit short of the hardened steel blocks. That will come out. We'll have to work in this area here a little bit. Maybe we'll put some kind of block which will angle up there, so this will come up this way. And then what we'll do is we'll put you there, put you in there, and then we'll come one. Actually, I could put an armored turret here, couldn't I? Question is, I'm not too sure what I want in the way of weapons, so I think for the moment we'll just put this on like that, and then we'll just armor down like that. This gives me 3x3 for a side-mounted weapon that will be able to shoot up and down. Because the way I'm thinking weapon-wise is to have the a 360-degree defense. So unlike many builds you do see where there's very little guns on the bottom, what I'm thinking is to have guns there. Definitely got to move these over. That's got to come back one more. That lines up with it. So let's have a think weapons-wise. Capital vessel. Let me see. Where are your gun weapons? Where's the weapons gone? There they are. I'm thinking definitely 2 artillery turrets. I like the laser turrets because there's 2 options with that, and probably some rocket turrets. So probably what I would want to do is put onto here some laser turrets so that they can fire in all that directions and underneath, and then what we'll probably have is the cannons on the top and at the front as well. So that's what I'm thinking from the perspective of the side thrusters. I think if I duplicate that on both sides and also up here, and then we can shape the front of the ship in round like this here. So, and what I'll do is I'll finish that off camera because I will need to put the symmetry plane back on. And of course we'll shape this area in, and what that means is what that means is that these thrusters buried down in here will have some protection. And we can always put some grills over the top of that to give them extra protection as well. The only real downside is these are a little bit exposed. I mean, we could bring this forward a bit and just come up here, put a block there, and then we could like put them that way. I mean, that would give them extra protection, or am I just being a bit obsessive? Maybe I'll change that later on. Of course, what we can do is we come to the devices, auto group, and just have a quick look at the stats. So, I mean, that's given us 109 lateral thrust because it's still 3-3. But I think once we got some more up here as well, and of course we'll have more at the back here, and the idea is to have all the thrusters spaced across here. That will mean so that those are actually in the right place, aren't they? A bit of luck. And these are ready to go. And I suppose what I should do is we come in here. So we've now got the thrusters on this inner side. Are they on this inner side? Where are they? Let's find out where they are. Yeah, so it's these three here. So we can do this in ordinary steel blocks. What I'm thinking is that we can have maybe that go up that side like that. And what this will mean is that the inside of here won't be so uniform either. And then we'll just have that there. And then we'll just fill this in with half blocks, which don't want to go horizontally, they just want to go vertically. So that just makes the interior look a little bit more interesting rather than just being a big open square block. Thinking about maybe putting something up on the roof as well in half blocks. So that's the idea, and we could probably even bring it out a little bit further so that there's a bit of internal protection for those thrusters. You could almost call it reinforcement in the real world, and I suppose we could do something there. Anyway, I'm getting distracted, and I'm aware of this video, and I do want to get on to the what you call the main feature of this video, although it may not seem like it. Is I just want to get here. I'm just going to line up here because we're definitely going to need the symmetry plane for this one. Go away. Cancel that. Symmetry plane. That is definitely running down the center, isn't it? Yep. What I want to do, and again, I'm going to do this with ordinary steel blocks, is I want to bring out the SV landing strips here. I've kind of been looking at this as well, and this is a bit too blocky. What I'm partly thinking about is shaping this up with a bit of a curve as well. Where did you come from? I think what I will do is, if I go to the toaster, what have you got in the way of general stores? Not that much, okay. MCRN Pioneer. Constructor out. What we're going to do is hook over some of this stuff and just bring it together. Come into. Oh, I've broken the link anyway. Okay. Toaster and general supplies. Where are you? And we'll put these in as well. I think it'd be easier to build now with a lot of this stuff, basically using the actual toaster itself. So, I mean, you see, we got the resources here, so let's just shove this in here. When I've got so much junk in here now, it's unbelievable. Put that in there. We've got a cockpit up as well. We've got some truss blocks. I mean, we could put these shuttered windows over the outlets for the thrusters as well. A couple of armor lockers, fuel tanks, got some ventilators, sentry guns. The big thruster in as well. O2 tanks, O2 stations. Wow, that certainly drops down the. We got this rocket launcher, and of course we got some projectile turrets. Right. And like I said, we're going to do this with steel blocks because at the moment we've got one width there, two width there. Now, one thing I didn't look at is the silver shade is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks wide. So I want to put a layer on this outside possibly. So what we're thinking is, I think we'll start here, come down here. That's layer 1. Wow, it's going to take a lot of blocks, isn't it? Layer 4. Layer 5. Like that. And that's layer. That's layer 6. I'm tempted to come out another one. Simply because I don't want to crowd in that and I want to have the scope. And I mean, that's going to really bring this out here. And that will allow us to toughen up this area here. What I'm thinking is to bring this out in a curve. And we can have more gun positions out on this side here. Actually, I'm going to go one more. They say in for a penny, in for a pound. That's going to be the stern width of the ship. And of course, it goes without saying that I may clip off a little bit here and kind of fill in this area a little bit. It's just kind of come out. I have to come across here as a little bit of an angle. So that means we're going to get a little bit of an overlap here. So we may even come up as far as this area here. Actually, I'm kind of thinking that maybe I need another row on each side. So let's just have a do that as well. I mean, this is more about perspective than practicability. I mean, this thing is getting big, really, really big. And that actually blends in quite nicely there, isn't it, with the gun position? I mean, I don't want to come out any further than that, because unless I put, because that then means that that will affect the ability of the guns to fire upwards. Though I could put the guns there, but then we'd have to put something. I might have to redesign this actually and bring this out a little bit further. So we may have to, say, put a block there and then come out a little bit further. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So a few more blocks in there. I mean, we could come in a shallower angle. And that's something to think about. And of course, what I want to do here is we're going to come back to, say, about here. And what I want to do is start bringing this in, say, maybe a little bit like that. Because what I want on the stern here is another pretty big apron. Because what I want to do is to be able to land capital vessels on this, or the hook capital vessels is probably a better description, not land them. So I think maybe we'll start to around like, I mean, it's got to be on the width of the front here. So I've got no idea how far I've got to come back with this. So I think what we'll do is we'll just keep coming back. I mean, what I'll have to do is bring the Pioneer round, because the idea is that we make this wide enough so that I can put the front landing gear onto here, and then that means that when I get another big capital vessel, when we're actually deciding to move, I can hook it on the back here, although I could hook it up here. Oops. Now I think we have the apron on the back here, so I think we're just come back here. How many blocks back is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a feeling it's going to have to be a lot longer, more than that. So if we come back to, I mean, if I taper this over a bit, the ship can come in a bit tighter, can't it? Actually, let's just go for it. I mean, I can always remove them. It's one of the beauties of doing this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll go to 11, I think. And what I'll do off camera is I'll bring the Pioneer round and see if I can get it to actually land, because we could come in from that perspective. Anyway, that is going to be virtually the landing area of this carrier. And so we're going to scoop this in. I think it will be a shallow angle. And of course, what we'll do is we'll have more gun positions under here, so we'll be able to shape that in. Actually, this just fill in a couple of these like that. So maybe if we build it up like this. So, I mean, we could come in at a 45-degree angle. So let's just bring it out like that. So, actually, what we could do is, I've just had a thought, just want to try it out. So put that there, you there. I'm open to opinions on this. If you think I'm getting a bit too carried away, feel free to tell me. So then if we come in another one like this, then come in, oops, finger slip there. So if I come in like that, maybe we'll go one more like that, and go on the end like that. Yep. I don't really want to impinge too much on that, so, and then we'll just come in like that. And what I could do is just tidy the edge up a little bit. Although, to be honest, a nice square landing deck. I mean, we could, if I put in, oh, something the right angle anyway. So if I put in something like that, trouble is that's going to impinge on that, and that's not going to work, is it? I mean, this is coming out over the top of the hangar deck, so it needs to be solid anyway. Look, that doesn't look too bad, does it? It's. I take that off. I mean, that kind of fits with the style of the ship, doesn't it? We come back here. This opens up here with respect to the side landing points there. Yeah, I mean, I could come out one more. I mean, how far is that? Is that halfway? Actually, I'm just going to do it one more, because then that brings it roughly over the center line of the actual hangar entrance there. So, well, apologies for this. I'll just come down like that. And of course, this side won't be able to do it because I've one of the downsides of using symmetry planes is that right? Well, we can always fill the holes in afterwards. I mean, it'd be roughly right. What I'm just going to do is and then we'll just put, oh no, that one, and then we'll just put in the 45 degrees there. Yeah, I'm a bit more happy with that because that does kind of come in over the hangar. Yeah, and of course because I didn't put the square blocks in, so just drop those in it's going to be a massive landing deck, but I mean, it is a carrier. It's probably the best way to say. I think I'd probably like to bring it out level with the back of there. So we'll come in like that. And I think this area, I mean, what we could do is something similar to on this side, but maybe make it a little bit of a sharper angle. So if I see that block comes there, so if I do that comes this way. And then what we can do is come in, say, like that. So that the SV's coming in here. I mean, this is more than enough. I mean, I could probably land 3 SVs on that. And what's this? The line comes down. So if I put in maybe 1, 2, that's the line there. 2, 1 more, or I mean, that's more than wide enough. That's the width coming through there. I think what we'll do is we'll just break the angle here. So break the angle like that and come in like that, and then come back maybe a couple of blocks like that, and then we're once I know the depth of this, actually we could probably come all the way back to about here, and no, we'll come back 1 more. So that brings the SV landing down here, and then I'll find how well the capital vessel docks onto here, and then we'll shape this round, and then what that would do is effectively define space under here. Look at that. Wow, this thing is getting massive. I've got absolutely no idea what the CPU on stats is on his. We're up to 1.244 million. I think I'm going to need to think seriously about going to tier 4. Because otherwise things just not going to. Anyway, I've just noticed the time. I got a bit more carried away with this video than I should have done. But hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting. Any comments on this slightly cockeyed design, feel free to chuck it in. This is way too blocky. I've got to do something about that. But what I really want to do is just get the overall size worked out, so I know what I'm working with, and then we can start working on some more of the detail. And of course, what we're really going to need to do is see if we can get this thing to actually fly, which is going to be interesting. But this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.